Welcome to This Explainer. Let's dive right in and start by validating a deeply frustrating reality that so many women face when they hit their 40s, 50s, and 60s. You know the feeling, right? You're working hard, maybe even harder than you did in your 30s, but your body just is not responding the way it used to. If you are feeling exhausted, stuck, and maybe even a little betrayed by your own metabolism right now, I want you to know you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to unpack exactly why this is happening.
We really have to ask this crucial question. You feel like you're doing all the right things, right? The things that kept you perfectly fit 10 years ago, but somehow the rule book has completely changed. Why is it that those long cardio runs, the super frequent HIIT classes, or those grueling boot camps you've relied on for years are suddenly causing weight gain, stubborn belly fat, fatigue, and sore joints? You might be eating the exact same amount, or even less, and exercising just as much, yet the scale just keeps creeping up. The fitness industry loves to tell us to just push harder or eat less, but as we dive into the source material today, you'll see that is the exact opposite of what you actually need right now.
I need to validate exactly what you are feeling right now. It is not you. Your body is not broken, and you absolutely aren't doing anything wrong. The honest truth is, the fitness program you're using was designed for a physiological state that you are simply no longer in. Your body is going through this profound, amazing transition, and the old fitness rules are just fundamentally wrong for this new stage of your life.
So, the hidden driver behind this whole shift? It's estrogen. Now, we usually just think of estrogen as a reproductive hormone, but it is actually a powerhouse metabolic hormone. Think of it like an incredible shock absorber for your nervous system. Back in the old way, when your estrogen was high, it literally buffered the physical stress of those intense HIIT workouts, and it allowed you to bounce back and recover quickly. But in the new way, as estrogen fluctuates and naturally drops during perimenopause and menopause, your body loses that shock absorber. Suddenly, you become incredibly sensitive to stress. So when you do that same exhausting workout, especially if you didn't sleep perfectly the night before, your body's stress alarm, which is the hormone cortisol, just spikes and gets stuck on high. Your body literally feels like it's under constant attack.
And when that cortisol gets stuck on high, it completely changes how you store fat. Cortisol's main job is to protect you, and one of the ways it does that is by mobilizing energy. But when it's constantly elevated from high-intensity workouts and daily life stress, it triggers your body to hoard fat. And here is the real kicker. Abdominal fat cells actually have way more cortisol receptors than fat cells anywhere else in your body. So that stubborn belly fat, it is not a lack of willpower. Your body isn't punishing you. It honestly thinks it's saving your life by hoarding fuel right around your vital organs. It's just a biological self-defense mechanism. All right, moving into our next section, your body isn't broken. Understanding muscle loss. Belly fat is really only half of the midlife fitness equation, so we need to look beneath the surface at what's happening to our muscles. We really need to talk about sarcopenia. Now, I know that sounds like a scary word, but it is simply the medical term for the totally natural, age-related loss of skeletal muscle mass and function. Basically, as we age, if we don't actively work to keep our muscles, they just start to shrink. Think of your muscle mass as the engine of your metabolism. When that engine shrinks, it naturally burns less fuel, even when you're just sitting on the couch reading a book. Losing muscle means your basal metabolic rate slows way down. This is the second huge reason why the amount of food you used to eat suddenly feels like too much for your body to handle. And just to put this into perspective, the urgency here is very real. Without progressive resistance training, we naturally lose 3 to 5% of our muscle mass every single decade, starting right in our 30s and 40s. That adds up incredibly fast. It affects your balance, your raw strength, and of course your metabolism. But honestly, here is the fantastic news. This is absolutely not a one-way street. We can entirely reverse this process, but we have to give our bodies the right kind of stimulus. Which leads us perfectly to our next point, the solution, accessible military calisthenics. Let's talk about how to actually fix this. First off, forget the intimidating images of military recruits doing endless, punishing burpees in the mud. That is not what we're talking about. We are talking about accessible, joint-friendly mastery of your own body weight. There's no expensive gym required and absolutely no heavy weights to drop on your toes. It uses natural ranges of motion, meaning your body naturally finds its own optimal safe movement path, which really protects your joints. And most importantly, it works with your hormonal changes. Instead of keeping that cortisol permanently elevated through endless cardio, this method builds genuine strength through manageable, moderate volume resistance that actually helps balance your hormones over time. Now, another massive benefit here for women over 40 is bone density.
Declining estrogen inevitably means declining bone density, which can lead straight to osteopenia and osteoporosis. But by using weight-bearing and impact movements, literally just supporting your own body weight against gravity, this type of training stimulates osteoblasts. These are the amazing little builder cells in your body that actively create stronger, denser bones. You are literally fortifying your entire skeletal system from the inside out.
I really, really appreciate this quote from the source material. The goal isn't aesthetics, it's functional readiness, the ability to climb, carry, sprint, and endure. We are training for real-world functional strength here. This whole thing is about ensuring you can effortlessly carry heavy groceries from the car, comfortably climb a huge flight of stairs, get up from the floor with total ease, and just live the rest of your life with absolute, undeniable physical confidence.
So let's get into the specifics, the core movements, mastering your body weight. Let's look at what these actual workouts entail.
First up is the foundational bodyweight squat. This is a powerful, incredibly effective lower body movement that just mimics the natural action of sitting down into a chair. It's all about working within your own comfortable range of motion to build incredible leg, hip, and glute strength, completely avoiding those restrictive gym machines that force your joints into unnatural, rigid angles.
Next is the push-up, and please hear me on this one. You absolutely do not need to start on the floor. You can absolutely start by doing these standing up against a wall or resting your hands on your kitchen counter. This safely builds up that upper body strength and is absolutely incredible for developing wrist and arm bone density without overloading your elbow or shoulder joints.
Then we have the plank. Now, this isn't just about trying to get flat abs. It's a full-body static hold that builds incredible spine support and deep, deep core stability. Think of it acting like a built-in internal core set, protecting your lower back whenever you bend or lift anything in your everyday life. It literally teaches your nervous system how to brace effectively. And finally, the glute bridge. Lying flat on your back and pressing your hips gently upward perfectly targets the back of your legs and beautifully stabilizes your lower back. It is a wonderfully low-impact strength builder that brilliantly counteracts all the sitting we do in our modern day-to-day lives. So how do we put all these movements together? Let's check out the 28-day plan, Consistency Beats Intensity. This program is designed specifically around your busy life and your changing recovery needs. First off, you have 3 different session lengths to choose from every day, 15, 30, or 40 minutes, completely depending on how much time you have. This flexibility is baked right in to ensure you can actually fit this into a real life. And every single session is thoughtfully structured. You have to start with 8 to 12 minutes of joint mobility. Warming up is absolutely non-negotiable at this stage of the game. Then you move into a manageable compound circuit, and you always finish with a proper cool down. That cool down is vital because it literally signals to your nervous system that the physical stress is over, which helps that cortisol drop right back down to a healthy resting state. The whole program is thoughtfully tiered into beginner, intermediate, and advanced levels. Over the 4 weeks, you start with a gentle baseline and plenty of rest, like 90 seconds between sets. Slowly, you scale up the volume, and then you slightly increase the intensity by reducing those rest times. And you're only working out 3 to 4 times a week to ensure your cortisol stays balanced and you actually have time to recover. Plus, there is a brilliant missed session protocol built right in. If life gets crazy and you miss a day, you don't panic, you don't punish yourself, and you certainly don't double up the next day. You simply pick up right where you left off. The program even includes an entire dedicated chapter on pelvic floor health, ensuring your deep foundational muscles are fully supported throughout this whole journey. Let's move on to the science of strength, empowering results. Because the science backing up this kind of smart, focused work is just incredibly encouraging.
Clinical studies show that sticking to this kind of bodyweight circuit training just 3 times a week can yield massive upper and lower body strength improvements of 18 to 25% in just 12 weeks. That is literally a quarter more strength, power, and capability in your daily life in just a few short months, all done right from your own living room. And this brilliant approach just cascades through your whole system. It actively reverses that sarcopenia we talked about, building back the vital muscle that naturally fades away. Because you are constantly managing your own body weight in space, it vastly improves your balance and proprioception, which drastically reduces your risk of falls down the line. And honestly, perhaps best of all, instead of spiking your stress constantly, training smartly like this actually teaches your nervous system how to handle stress better, actively lowering your baseline cortisol over time. And remember, closing the loop on what we talked about at the very beginning, a lower baseline cortisol means less stored belly fat and much deeper, better sleep, dramatically increasing your overall quality of life. I absolutely love this quote from the text because it fundamentally shifts the entire narrative we've been fed. Your 40s, 50s, and beyond can be some of your strongest, most capable years if you train smart. It's such a beautiful reminder that our bodies aren't fading, and they certainly aren't failing us. They just need a smarter, more supportive, and way more scientifically sound approach to truly thrive. So if you are ready to step away from the exhausting, punishing workouts that are no longer serving you, you can find the complete, beautifully illustrated 28-day military calisthenics program, including all those beginner modifications and the vital pelvic floor guide right in the sourcebook. It all comes down to this one thought. If your body is naturally entering its most powerful, resilient phase yet, isn't it time you gave it a workout routine that finally treats it that way?